The international break is over, and that means Chelsea are back to Premier League action, this time facing Newcastle United away at St James's Park. But who will play, and how do Chelsea win? Let's get to it. Lads, lasses and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC and welcome to the lead-in. Like always, I'm going to be predicting the lineups that I feel will play and show how I believe our team could set up tactically. So, without further ado, let's firstly look at our opponents for this match. Newcastle are currently sitting in 7th place in the Premier League table. 6 wins, 4 losses and 2 draws see them comfortably challenging for a European spot. If we look at the head-to-head, Chelsea have had a large amount of success against the Magpies in recent times, with last season being a small stumbling block as it was for the majority of teams we faced. The Toon will be looking to have that same amount of success against us in this one too. So, how will they plan on trying to achieve that? Let's look at the team. Newcastle, managed by ex-Bournemouth man Eddie Howe, usually set up in a similar way to Chelsea, a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. I'm going to be selecting their lineup, but it's worth noting that they have tons of injuries, something us Chelsea fans know all too well, so their starting 11 will be rotated to say the least. First up in goal though will remain Nick Pope. Last time out he spared Newcastle's blushes, as they could have conceded about 4 to 5 goals to Bournemouth if it weren't for his excellent performance in between the sticks. For the back four, this will be a rather makeshift defence because of the many injuries that hit the squad. Over on the right, despite withdrawing from England duties due to personal issues, will likely remain Kieran Trippier. The centre-back partnership is a ragtag duo with Sven Botman being absent, which means that Jamal Lascelles retains his place from the Bournemouth game alongside Swiss international Fabian Schär. Over on the left is going to be another strange addition, with Dan Burn still out injured and Lewis Hall ineligible to play against his parent club. It could signal a left-back shift for ex-Chelsea youth player Tino Livramento. Moving into the midfield, we'll start with the most obvious inclusion. After serving his one-match suspension, returning to the side is the Brazilian Bruno Guimarães. Next to him are going to be another few odd additions. With Sandro Tonali banned from playing, the other 2 roles will be filled by local boy Sean Longstaff, along with Joe Willock. The final attacking 3 is a little odd too, with injury doubts for Alexander Isak, Harvey Barnes and Callum Wilson. This could be far from what we normally see. On the right of the 3 though, despite him being a small doubt for this game, will be the Paraguayan Miguel Almiron. Over on the left, but probably operating a little deeper as a makeshift attacking midfielder, is striker turned midfielder Joelinton. Down the centre will be one of Newcastle's only fit attackers, ex-Evertonian Anthony Gordon. Now, I'm not going to talk about Newcastle's tactics here as usual. I usually save that for my breakdowns after games, but if you do want some analysis on them, I'd recommend watching this video from when we faced them in pre-season, where I went a little bit more in depth. Link will be in the top right hand corner or in the description for those of you on mobile. I will however mention a few things of note. Firstly, the injuries have really derailed this Newcastle side. Losing to Dortmund, a team that Chelsea beat last season despite having our worst ever team and worst ever manager, was bad, but to then be absolutely played off the pitch by Bournemouth and be lucky to go away with only conceding 2 goals is very telling. As I hypothesised in my Premier League predictions, which again you can watch by clicking the link in the description or in the top right corner, the added weight of a European fixture list alongside a rather intense style of play under Eddie Howe has caught up to them, and the team is slowly falling apart and falling down the table. Admittedly, I didn't think this would happen this early, and no one could have predicted what would come of Sandro Tonali, but it was obvious that this was going to happen at some point. Chelsea are lucky in a way. This could be potentially our best chance of beating the Toon, and away at their home stadium, which is almost impossible to get a result at these days, we need all the luck we can get. Admittedly, with the return of Bruno Guimarães to the side, I don't think they'll be as woeful as they were against the Cherries, but they are certainly weaker and we need to capitalise on it. Secondly, the elephant in the room, set pieces. Newcastle have one of the best set piece takers on the planet in Kieran Trippier, and we have been, well, terrible at defending set pieces in recent times. We saw how easy it was for Akanji to score against us in the City game. We absolutely must tighten up in those moments, or this is going to be another frustrating night for the Blues. But, as usual, I'd like to focus more on our own team from now on, so speaking of the Blues, let's talk about Chelsea. But real quick, if you're enjoying the content and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Cheers. Let's start with the formation. Same as usual, 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. I genuinely could see us playing the exact same lineup as we did against City, but I'll go through who I believe Poch will play anyway. So first up in goal, I'm going to be putting in Robert Sanchez. Once again, the Spaniard was great against City, which is odd to say considering we conceded 4 goals, being pivotal for our long passing but also coming up with a few vital saves. For the back 4, I'm going to alter things slightly, however the first defensive name on the team sheet will always be Captain Reece James at right back. I've been enjoying how Poch has been managing his fitness, and it's good to see him get a consistent run of games in recent times. For the centre-back partnership, I don't think this will change at all, with Axel Disasi as ever partnering Brazilian veteran Thiago Silva. However, on the left, I will be taking Cucurella out of the starting 11. It seems as if Levi Colwill has recovered from his shoulder issue, and I'd expect Poch to put him back into the side in order to help in those aerial battles, especially considering Cucurella didn't have the greatest game last time out. Moving into the midfield, this will be the easiest part of the team to pick once again, Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez sitting in the deep midfield roles, with the ever-improving Conor Gallagher in the more advanced role. It should be said that Romeo Lavia has been in training, so could possibly have a short cameo off the bench though. The 3 up top will be unchanged for me. Cole Palmer starts on the right hand side as ever, looking to gain another goal contribution in this one. Over on the left remains the in-form Raheem Sterling. As long as he keeps playing this way, he is irreplaceable in the side for me. His direct dribbling is so key to how we attack, and can help us win penalties for Palmer to convert to, so despite Mudryk's impressive short cameo against City, I don't think he starts in this one. Finally, up top is going to be Nicholas Jackson. He will be in super high spirits, not only scoring 4 goals in 2 games and looking to add more, but also welcoming his newborn baby to the world a few days ago. I think his confidence is through the roof at the moment, and long may it continue, though if he does need a rest towards the end of the game, we could finally see the official debut of one Christopher Nkunku, who has been pictured in training and could possibly feature off the bench for a short stint. Now I'm going to break down how I think we should play in order to get a result against Newcastle, but before I do so, it's time for the question of the day. As always, I'm going to highlight some of the comments from the last video, so here are a few responses to the last question of the day. Thanks guys for your continued support as ever. If you want your comment to be featured in the next video, leave your answer to this video's question of the day down below with QOTD at the start as always. So for this week's question of the day, we'll go for this. What do you think is the hardest position to play in football, and why? Alright, so how will we play? Well, I don't think that we stood much of a chance against City, and we looked mightily impressive, and with Newcastle having depleted numbers, I am confident we can win this game. I'm going to point out what I believe are our keys to success here. Firstly, as I mentioned before, set pieces. We have to be defensively switched on because this game will likely be a close, cagey affair. One mistake could end up costing us all 3 points in this game, so we cannot gift them opportunities. No silly fouls outside the box, please. Secondly, the midfield battle is going to be vitally important. Though they are welcoming Bruno Guimaraes back, I still feel as if our midfield is much stronger than theirs overall, and if we can quickly shift the ball through the middle like we did against City, we can get our forward players running at the backline, which is by far the weakest point of their side right now with all the injuries. Newcastle are a team that loves to press, but I feel as if they will learn from the Bournemouth game and possibly be a little more defensive and stubborn in this one. We may be facing another low block here, which as I discussed in my previous video isn't too much of an issue as long as we can be clinical when our chances inevitably arrive. Our wing play is always a vital part of our attack, and there will be key battles in these areas once again. Sterling up against Trippier will be good to watch out for, as the ex-Spurs man isn't the quickest across the pitch anymore, and could struggle against the trickery and drive of Raheem. Let's hope that Raz can continue his good form in this one and create many opportunities for us. Likewise, the battle on the right hand side will be important too. In this setup, Reece James will likely be used as more of an attacking outlet than a defensive one, and up against a makeshift left back he could find a modicum of success here. So I think that crosses from this right side could be one option for us to create chances, but as I so often say, it's better for them to be low. Though this Newcastle defence isn't as strong or as tall as usual, they still have Jamal Lascelles in the centre who is very good in the air, so I think we'd have better success putting the ball across the face or low into the area instead. Defensively, the battle between Almiron and Colwill, or Cucurella if he plays, will be another 1v1 to look out for. The South American is very tricky and has a lot of pace and could cause issues down that right side if allowed time and space. Our press as always will be ferocious, and with the weakened midfield that Newcastle have, I expect us to keep winning the ball back and retaining a lot of possession in this one. I think this game could be another one of those games where we have 60 to 70% possession, but struggle to score many goals, and thus we will need to not be sloppy on the ball, move it quickly, switch it from side to side to move defenders around, and try to find gaps for passes from Enzo/Palmer to our forwards. This game could be very frustrating to watch if Newcastle get back to their defensive best. I don't expect many goals from either side and a draw is very likely, but with what's at stake for Chelsea and considering how well we have been playing in our last few games against very tough opposition, I expect us to win this by hook or by crook. 3 points here would see the Blues rise to 8th place if Brighton and West Ham lose, sitting on 19 points, 1 point below our opposition. For a score prediction, I am going to predict a Chelsea win, and I'll say that Chelsea will beat Newcastle by 2-1. I'm going to say that our goals will come from Jackson, extending his record to 5 goals in 3, and I'm going to go for a rogue shout and say that Reece James will pop up with a goal for us in this one. As for the Magpies, I think that we will be undone by a set piece, with Joe Linton scoring a header from a free kick from the right. But that was just my lead-in match preview for Chelsea vs Newcastle United. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these possible lineups in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, or check out some of the other videos on the channel on screen right now. I've been Mono from MonoCFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on you Blues!